There are 225 different creatures in Ark, and in this video I'm going to be showing you all of them and explaining them in detail in 30 seconds or less. I'm going to be including creatures from Ark Survival Evolved and Ascended. This is going to be everything you need to know about every creature. So how this is going to work is there will be a timer on screen for each creature. I'm going to be going in alphabetical order, as well as, since I'm including both Ark Survival Evolved and Ascended, at the bottom left of the screen, I will have the logo for Ark Survival Evolved if it is in Ark Survival Evolved, and if it's in Ark Survival Ascended, there will be an Ark Survival Ascended logo. If there's both, that means it's in both games. If there's only one of those, then it's only in that game. So with that being said, let's get started. The first creature we have is the Achatina, which is like a large snail. It is a knockout tame, and it requires sweet veggie cakes in order to tame it. The Achatina is a herbivore, so it requires berries to eat. The Achatina is not a shoulder pet, nor can you ride it, but it does have a few abilities, like you can put hats on its shell. Some hats will go on its head, others will go on its shell, it just depends on the hat that you get. It also has the ability to poop out Achatina paste, which is a substitute for cementing paste. I also just got this dope 3D print of the Achatina, which is, you know, pretty awesome. Wow. Next we have the Allosaurus, which is a medium-sized carnivore, and it spawns in packs of 3 in the wild. It's a pack dino. There will be one of them which is glowing, and that is the Alpha. It is a knockout tame. It is tamed with superior kibble, but you can also use any meat that you would like. It requires a saddle to ride it, and the saddle is unlocked at level 67. Once ridden, it has a bite attack which does bleed damage, and it also gets a pack bonus if there's more allos in the area, and when there's allos it can do a roar. Next is the Amargasaurus, which is a mid-sized sauropod that is a herbivore. In order to tame with it, you must sync with its body temperature using Kalian soup, then you will hunt with it. Once you've hunted with it, you can feed it exceptional kibble. You can also use berries and vegetables. Once tamed, the saddle is unlocked at level 55 and it requires a saddle to ride. It has a tail swipe and a neck attack, but it can also shoot spikes. It has 3 different types: the normal spikes, there's fire spikes, and then there's ice spikes that it can shoot, and has a limited amount of spikes that it can grow back over time. After that, we have the Ammonite, which is a medium-sized squid with a shell. This creature is untamable, and it has that ability to shoot out Ammonite bile, which will give you the rage effect, which makes everything around you aggressive, even passive creatures. And when you kill an Ammonite, it gives you Ammonite bile, which can be used to make pheromone darts. After that, we have the Andrewsarchus, which is a large carnivorous mammal. It's tameable by throwing honey on the ground and then riding it and pressing the button prompts on screen until it's tamed. It can be ridden without a saddle, but you can also put an optional saddle on at level 74, which has a machine gun turret on it. Its abilities include running really fast. It gets faster the more it goes, as well as it has a dash ability. It has a bite and a kick ability, and of course you can shoot with the turret on the back of it. And also its saddle allows you to breathe underwater. Next is the anglerfish. This is a giant anglerfish that can be found near the bottom of the ocean, and it is a knockout tame. It requires regular kibble to tame, but you can use any meat you want with lower taming effectiveness. You can also kill the anglerfish to get angler gel, which can be used as a fuel source. Once tamed, you do not need a saddle to ride it, and it has a bite attack which harvests silica pearls, and a lot of them. This is going to be your best silica pearl harvester in the game. Next we have the Ankylosaurus, which is a herbivore that can typically be found in mountainous areas. It can be tamed by knocking it out, and it prefers regular kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 36. It has a tail swipe and a bite. The bite gathers berries, and the tail swipe gathers things like metal and flint, but it can also gather crystal, oil, and ambergris. The Anky also has an 85% weight reduction on metal. Next is the Arenio, which is a giant spider that can be found in caves and in volcanic biomes. It is a passive tame and requires spoiled meat to tame. Once tamed, you need a saddle for it, which the saddle is at level 40. It has a bite attack and a web attack. The web attack webs things up and slows them down, and that's about all it does. The Arenio will be getting a TLC update soon, so if you're watching this in the future, this might even be outdated. After that, we have the Archaeopteryx. This is a small carnivorous flyer, and it is tameable. It is a knockout tame, and it requires simple kibble, but can also be tamed with chitin. The Archaeopteryx is technically a shoulder pet, but it doesn't really act like any of the other ones, because unlike other shoulder pets, you can't really do anything while you're using it. And its main ability, as you can see, is you can glide with it. You can glide through areas by jumping, but you can't do anything else while you're holding it. Next up is the Archelon, which is a giant underwater sea turtle. It is a simple passive tame. All you need is superior kibble, but you can also use biotoxin to tame it. It requires a saddle to ride at level 45. The saddle has 4 passenger seats and gives you oxygen to breathe underwater. Once tamed, it only eats biotoxin, but it can harvest tons of biotoxin from jellyfish, and the jellyfish also give it a jellyfish killer buff. Archelons grow algae on their back, which you can pick off, which is basically used as mutton for herbivores. Algae can also be used to make sushi. After that, we have the Argentavis, which is a giant bird that's found in mountains, and it can be found harvesting corpses, which give it a healing buff. It's a simple knockout tame. It requires superior kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower effectiveness. It requires a saddle, and the saddle is unlocked at level 62, and its saddle works as a smithy. The RG has a bite attack, and it can hold 2 creatures at once. The RG has a 50% weight reduction on stone, metal, obsidian, crystal, organic polymer, black pearls, metal ingots, and polymer. Next is the Armadoggo, which is just a normal dog with an armadillo type shell on the back of it. It's tameable by throwing the food it wants on the ground, and then once it eats it, you pet it. The food it wants is regular kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower taming effectiveness. Armadoggo is a companion pet, which means it will follow you around and cannot die. If it dies, it will have a cooldown timer. It's not rideable, but it has a set of armor unlocked at level 21, and it has a set of 12 different attachments that can all give you different abilities. Next up, we have the Arthroplura, which is a giant centipede. It is tameable, it is a passive tame, and requires a Broth of Enlightenment to tame it, but you can also use spoiled meat, but it won't be as good. Once tamed, it requires a saddle to ride it at level 54, and its abilities include a bite attack as well as a spit attack. The spit attack can shred through enemy armor, as well as it can damage tech structures. The next creature is the Astrocetus, which is a giant whale that can be found flying in space. It is tameable and it is a knockout tame, but it's not knocked out by normal methods. You have to shoot it with rockets in its head or cannonballs. Once tamed, it requires a saddle to ride, which is the Tech Astrocetus saddle, learned by defeating the Beta or Alpha Master Controller. Its abilities include a bite and a tail whip, as well as a hyperdrive that can teleport you. It has carpet bombs that are powered by ambergris, and multiple seat saddles that have tech turrets. Next, we have the Astrodelphus, which is a space dolphin. You can tame it passively by going up to it and then petting it and then feeding it element. Once tamed, it requires a tech saddle at level 120. The Astrodelphus acts like a starfighter. It has the ability to boost in 2 different speeds, it can go backwards, and it can do a spin. It has lasers powered by element, but if you hold the shoot button, they will do a lock on, as well as it has grenades, which are of course powered by grenades, and then there's an EMP blast. Next up are the attack drones. These are untamable and they are highly aggressive. They're only found in the Overseer arena, but they can also be found in the Genesis Part 1 space biome, and they attack on sight. They shoot lasers, and in the Overseer arena, they have a chance to drop element. Next up is the Aureliax. It's a giant Western style dragon, and in order to tame it, you first need to ride it in the wild and then gift it an item that it asks for. Once it does that, it'll drop an egg underneath it that you have to defend in waves, and once you're done, then you can claim the egg. Once your Aureliax is fully raised up, you are required to have a saddle in order to ride it. The saddle is unlocked at level 85. It has 2 modes, which is like a yin and yang stance, and when you use one stance, it powers up the other stance. It can also hold 2 creatures at once. After that, we have the Baryonyx, which is a mid-sized theropod, part of the Spinosaurid family. It is a piscivore. It is a knockout tame, and it prefers regular kibble, but you can also use fish meat, but it's not going to be very good taming effectiveness. It requires a saddle to ride, which you can unlock at level 49. Its abilities include a bite attack, as well as a roar. But it's a pretty good swimmer, so you can use it underwater, and it has no oxygen stat, so it can breathe forever. Its main ability is a tail swipe that does stun damage. Next up is the Basilisk, which is a giant snake that is found on Aberration. The Basilisk is tameable, and in order to tame it, you must feed it fertilized eggs by throwing them on the ground. You can only tame it with fertilized eggs from the best creatures like rock drakes and wyverns. Once tamed, it requires a saddle to ride it at level 85. Its abilities include a bite attack. It has a poison spit attack that shoots poison balls, and it can burrow underground, where you can then move around while underground. After that, we have the Basilosaurus. This is a big whale type creature. It's always surrounded by mantas in the wild, and it is a passive tame. It requires exceptional kibble to tame, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 60. Once tamed, the abilities include a bite attack. It is resistant to jellyfish and eel stings. It can passively produce oil in its inventory, and when it goes to the surface of the water, it gets a health bonus, and when it goes to the bottom of the ocean, it starts taking damage. It also gives you an insulation buff on your character. Next up is the Beelzebufo, which is a giant frog. It is tameable. It is a knockout tame and it requires regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 40. Its abilities include a tongue attack, a tongue swipe. It can also run quite quick and jump really far. Its main ability, however, is when it kills bugs, it turns them into cementing paste, and you can gather a lot of cementing paste this way. Next up is Bela, which is a mini boss found on Fjordur. It's like a giant bee that can shoot poison and sting you, and it spawns in little bee minions that'll come and fight with it. And you can only find it on Fjordur, and the only way to get it is by summoning it in. Next we have the bison, which is a herbivore that will spawn in herds out in the wild. They are aggressive and it is tameable. In order to tame it, you have to knock it out, and it takes superior kibble, but you can also use crops or berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 50. It has a headbutt attack, which can harvest berries and deal damage, and then it has like a leap attack that will dismount players. But its main ability is when you breed them, you get bison milk from the females, which can be used as an alternative for wyvern milk. Next is the Bloodstalker, which is a giant spider found in the bog on Genesis Part 1. In order to tame it, you must let it grab you and then suck the blood packs out of you. It does not require a saddle to ride. It has a main attack, and then it can outline enemy creatures, but its main ability is it can swing around with either 1 or 2 webs. It also has a parachute mechanic where it can kind of parachute itself down, but it can also walk on water and swim underwater, as well as climb walls. But it can also grab prey with its webs and reel them in. After that we have the Brontosaurus, which is a really large sauropod herbivore. It can be tamed by knocking it out, and it requires exceptional kibble, but of course you can use crops and berries for lower taming effectiveness. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 63, but you can also make a platform saddle for the Bronto, which is unlocked at level 80. But the abilities that the Bronto has is a tail swipe, which has a large area of effect, allowing you to gather tons of berries. It also has a lot of weight as well. Next up is the Broodmother, which is a boss, so it is untamable. It'll spawn Arenios as its minions, and it will shoot out poison as one of its attacks, as well as it can just hit you with its legs, and it deals a ton of damage. This is a pretty difficult boss. When you kill it, you're rewarded with Element and a Broodmother head trophy, as well as a Broodmother flag as well. You can find this as a boss fight on the island you have to teleport to, and you can find it in the wild on Volguero in the Broodmother opening cavern. After that we have the Bulb Dog, which is a light pet. It is tameable, and it is a passive tame. The best taming food for it is plant species Z seeds, and the second best taming food is aquatic mushrooms, but you can also use meat as well. Once tamed, you can have it on your shoulder, and it will produce light, which will scare away nameless and reapers, as well as just light things up for you. Following that, we have the Carbonimes, which is a giant turtle, and it is tameable. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is regular kibble, but of course you can use crops and berries. It does require a saddle once tamed, which is unlocked at level 10. And when it comes to the abilities, it has a bite attack, but not really anything else other than that. It's mainly used as a tank because the shell has reduced damage, and they also just come with a lot of health when you tame them, so these guys are good in tank roles. Next up is the Carcharodontosaurus, which is a very large theropod around the size of a giga, and it spawns in mountains. In order to tame it, you must bring it corpses, and once you've fed it enough corpses, it'll let you ride it, and then you can kill stuff until it tames. It requires a saddle, which can be unlocked at level 96. It has a bite attack, which is very powerful. When it bites, it gets a bloodlust ability where it can run extremely fast, and it also brings up this meter at the bottom, which can max out at 100. The higher it is, the more damage you do, and the faster you heal. It has a spin that knocks things back, and it has a roar that resets your kill meter. Following that, we have the Carno, which is a mid-sized theropod. It is a simple knockout tame and requires regular kibble, but you can also use meat as well. It requires a saddle to ride it, and it's unlocked at level 46. The Carno has a bite attack, which can do decent damage, but it also has a headbutt ability that does bleed damage. Next up is the Castroides, which is a giant beaver that's found in rivers and can be found making beaver dams, which give you tons of cementing paste and wood. It is a simple knockout tame and requires superior kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 61, and the saddle works as a mobile smithy. The Castroides has a bite attack that gathers berries and mostly wood. It gathers a ton of wood, and it has a 50% weight reduction on wood, fiber, thatch, and stone. It's also a pretty good swimmer. Following that, we have the cat. It is literally just a cat, and it's pretty rare to find, but you can find it on most maps wandering around. It is a passive tame, but it has 3 different moods, and you'll see it when you're looking at it with your spyglass. If it's green, that means you can tame it. If it's yellow, then that means it's skittish, and if it's red, that means it's going to attack you and claw your face out. Its preferred taming food is prime fish meat or wyvern or bison milk. Once tamed, it's a shoulder pet that can scare away pests like pegos, Ichthyornis, or Microraptors, so this thing's pretty dope. After that, we have the Ceratosaurus, which is a medium-sized carnivorous theropod. In order to tame it, you must kill other ones to get the venom spikes, which you use to make a hemogoblin, which you attach to your creature, and then let the Ceratosaurus hit you until it gets drunk, and then you can passively feed it. It requires extraordinary kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 60. Its abilities include a bite attack, which you can use to turn on a dime, as well as a spin attack, but also when you're attacking things, they turn pink, which gives you a healing buff once you do dump damage to them. Also, when it runs, it keeps getting faster and breaks objects. Following that, we have the Chalicotherium, which I don't even really know how to describe this thing other than that it's a big mammal. In order to tame it, you need to passively feed it beer. That beer is its preferred food, but you can also use stem berries, but stem berries are going to give it probably the worst taming effectiveness ever. It requires a saddle to ride it at level 42. It is a herbivore, so it'll eat berries once tamed. It has a bite attack. It's got like a hand swipe that it does, and its main ability is it throws giant boulders. But I think my favorite part of it is that you can make it sit down. Following that, we have the Nidaria, which is a jellyfish. These guys are not tameable. You can find them in pretty much any ocean biome, and they will sting you and instantly dismount your creature, as well as stunning them, making it to where they can't do anything. Some creatures have resistance to this, like the Basilosaurus and Tuso, but other than that, you're pretty much screwed if you run into these guys. You can also kill them to get Biotoxin, which is used for shocking tranquilizer darts, and Biotoxin also works as a more potent narcotic. Following that, we have the Coelacanth, which is just a fish. They can be found in shallow waters and rivers most commonly, but you can find them in the deep ocean sometimes, but not very commonly. You can harvest fish meat from them, or using a fishing pole, you can catch them and get some better loot out of it. They are tameable, and you can tame them with a fish basket, but once tamed, they basically do nothing at all. The only reason you want to tame one is to feed it to a shadow main to tame it. Next up is the Compy. This is a tiny carnivorous theropod. They are a pack dino, and in the wild you'll find them in packs trying to nibble at your feet. In order to tame them, they are a simple knockout tame, and the food they require is either raw mutton, raw prime meat, or raw prime fish meat. They won't eat anything else. Once tamed, they are a shoulder pet, and they don't really do much other than bite stuff, but you can have it on your shoulder, so that's cool. Next up is the Corrupted Master Controller. Might be pushing the definition of creature a little bit here with this one, because it is just Rockwell in a simulated robot form. It's this giant head there, and in this boss fight you have to complete 3 different stages where you collect keys to go to the next stage, and then once you're through with the first 3 stages, you get to the final stage where you can actually damage him, and then he kind of looks like Thanos as well. After that, we have Cosmo, which is a tiny little spider that can be found on Aberration, and it works as a light pet. It is a passive tame, but in order to passively tame it, you have to wait for it to start glowing, and then you can run up to it and feed it. Its preferred taming food is plant species Z seeds, and the second best is Azerbig mushrooms, and then the third best is Chitin. Once tamed, you can use it as a light pet, but you can also swing around like Spider-Man, which is extremely fun to do, and it can shoot webs. Next up are the Crystal Wyverns, which are smaller versions of the normal wyverns that have crystals in their head and only spawn on crystal isles. Unlike normal wyverns, they are passive, and they're passive tames. They require prime crystals to tame, but you can also use regular crystals. You can also steal their eggs as well. There are 3 types of Crystal Wyverns, starting with the Tropical Crystal Wyvern, which has a water breath, and it has the ability to get a hydrated buff, which makes it faster and deal more damage when it touches water. Next is the Ember, which has a fire breath that gets hotter the more you use it, and then the Blood, which has a blood breath that steals health from enemies. Following that, we have the Crystal Wyvern Queen, which is the final boss of Crystal Isles. It is a massive Crystal Wyvern with crystals all down its back and kind of like a skull for a head. It's pretty dope looking, and it has all of the abilities of all of the Crystal Wyverns. And during the boss fight, it will spawn baby Crystal Wyverns and fully grown Crystal Wyvern heirs that will come attack you, and it will land in its nest and has multiple different stages in this boss fight. Next up is the Cryolophosaurus, which is a medium-sized carnivorous theropod that currently only spawns on Lost Colony. It is a knockout tame, but in order to knock it out, you must let it shoot you with its goop while you have your shield up. It requires exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 60. It has a bite attack, but its main ability has to do with ice and snow. You can drink ice and snow to fill this up, and once you do, you can shoot a goop that does torpor, and you have an ice breath. It also has a dodge ability, which allows you to jump jump backwards. Then there's Hyper State, which gives you a speed and damage boost. Next up is the Daedon. This is a giant pig. It can be found in Arctic biomes and desert biomes, and it is tameable. In order to tame it, you have to knock it out, and it prefers superior kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower taming effectiveness. And this thing eats a ton of meat, so you're gonna need a lot of meat if you're taming it that way. It requires a Saddle to Ride, which is unlocked at level 59. It has a bite attack, but its main ability is its healing. So it can do a healing buff that heals allies, and it takes a lot of food. It'll drain your food, so you need a ton of food on it. Following that is the Death Worm. They are found in the dunes in desert biomes, and they are massive worms that burrow under the sand, and then they pop up and start attacking you. They are untamable, and they are very aggressive. They're very powerful as well. The Deathworms drop Deathworm horns, which you can use to tame mantises. They also drop black pearls and angler gel. Next up, we have the Defense Unit, which is an untamable robot that can be found in the Extinction Sanctuary City, killing creatures in the wild. It can also be found in the Overseer arena as a part of that boss fight. It's the minions of the Overseer. They have a stab attack they can do, and then they can stab with both of their arms, and then they also roll around like Droidicas from Star Wars. Following that, we have the Dinosuchus, which is a massive prehistoric alligator. It is aggressive, and you can find it in the swamps. It'll occasionally open its mouth in the wild, and you must go up to it and feed it. It requires superior kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower effectiveness. It requires a Saddle to Ride, which is unlocked at level 74, and its abilities include a bite attack, which you can use to turn in a 360 turning radius. It has a tail swipe, it has knockback, and then it has the Giga-Bite, where it charges up a bite that does thousands of damage. And this also does a bleed effect. Following that, we have the Dinotherium, which is the largest land mammal in the game. They are super aggressive in the wild, and they are passive tames. You need beer and put it in your last slot, and then you have to wait for it to give you signals to come up and feed it. It requires a Saddle to Ride at level 85. The Dinotherium is actually really fast. It can strafe left and right and turn 360 degrees. It has a Stomp and a Trunk Swipe, and their main ability is a Roar, which gives different buffs based on what gender it is. The males give a 15% melee damage increase, and the females give a 5% defense buff. Next up, we have the Deinonychus, which is a smaller sized theropod, around the size of a raptor that you can find on Velguero. The only way to get a Deinonychus is by stealing an egg. You cannot tame a wild one. Once tamed, it requires a Saddle to Ride at level 32. It has a bite attack, which does bleed damage, and is one of the only creatures that does bleed damages to bosses, and it can latch onto larger creatures, as well as it can climb up walls. It is a pack dino and has a special roar when you're in a pack as well. Next up, we have the Desert Titan, which is one of the 4 titans, and is a boss that is also tameable. It never lands, you're gonna have to find a creative way to kill it. If you want to tame it, you have to clear the corruption nodes off of it until it lets you claim it. Once claimed, it automatically comes pre-equipped with a saddle, and it has a bite attack. It can send lightning strikes down from the air, and it can summon a flock of birds to fight with you. Once tamed, it only lasts for 24 hours, and then it will go away. Next up, we have the Desmodus, which is a giant bat that can be found in caves. In order to tame it, you need blood packs. You have to let it pick you and eat the blood packs from your inventory. If you want good taming effectiveness, you have to let it pick one of your dinos and suck the blood from it. It requires a Saddle to Ride, which is unlocked at level 74. It has 360 turning radius, can go up and down easily, and can dive. It is a bite that gathers blood packs and spoiled meat. Using the blood, you can make sanguine elixirs. It can land on walls and upside down, and you can use weapons on it. And at night, it can go invisible and use night vision. You can also pick up creatures with it. Following that, we have the Dillo, which is a small carnivorous theropod. It can be found in beaches and in jungle biomes. They are a simple knockout tame, and their required food is basic kibble, but you can also use meats for lower effectiveness. Once tamed, it has a bite, and its main ability is a spit attack that blinds people and slows them down. It also does this to you in the wild as well. Next up, we have the Dimetrodon, which is a carnivorous reptile found in swamps. They are neutral in the wild, and they are a knockout tame. They require regular kibble, but you can also use other meats as well. They also have a fast torpor drain when knocked out. Once tamed, they are not rideable, but they have a bite attack, and their main ability is they work as a mobile AC unit, so you can put eggs next to them and it will hatch most of them. After that, we have the Dimorphodon, which is a very small flying reptile. It is a knockout tame, and it requires mutton, but you can also use other meats. Once tamed, you can use it as a shoulder pet. It has a bite attack, and its bite attack can hit through saddles and just hit players off their mounts, which is is pretty good for PvP. It also does this in the wild, so be careful and try not to aggro these things because they can kill you while you're on your mount. Next up we have the Dinopithecus, which is a massive baboon found on the Lost Island Redwoods biome. It's a passive tame that requires you to only tame the alpha, so you have to kill the betas, and then you can get the alpha to 85% health, then start passively taming it. It requires exceptional kibble, but you can also use other meats. Once tamed, it does not require a saddle. It's super fast and can jump extremely far. It is a claw swipe and a ground pound, as well as it can throw poop grenades and infested poop grenades. It also has the glitchiest climb in the entire game. Next up we have the Dinopithecus King, which is the boss of Lost Island. It is a massive Dinopithecus around the size of the Megapithecus, and it has a bunch of Dinopithecus minions that are riding on Margosaurus and being carried by cinema crops that throw grenades and poop at you, and it's quite the boss fight. Next up we have the Diplocaulus, which is a carnivorous amphibian. You can find it in swamp biomes, and it is super scared. If you run up to it, it will run away instantly. It is a simple knockout tame. It requires simple kibble, and you can also use meat as well. Once tamed, it does not require a saddle to ride, but it has to be in the water to ride it. You cannot ride it on land. It is extremely fast underwater, and when you ride it, you take oxygen from it, so you can actually stay underwater for quite a long time. It also does extra damage to trilobites. Next up, we have the Diplodocus, which is a medium-sized sauropod. It is a knockout and passive tame. It requires regular kibble to tame, but you can also use crops or berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 32, and its saddle has 10 seats on it, making it good for transporting large amounts of players. It is actually quite fast, and the only ability it has is its headbutt attack, which does 0 damage but does tons of knockback. Following that, we have the Dire Bear, which is a massive bear. It can be found in redwood biomes and is a simple knockout tame. It requires superior kibble, but you can also use giant bee honey and or meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 45, and for its abilities it has a bite attack, a claw swipe attack, and a roar where it stands on its hind legs. It starts off running slow but gradually gets faster until it reaches a top speed. The Dire Bear gives you a bee protection buff, and when you swipe bee nests you get honey without the bees attacking you. After that we have the Dire Wolf, which is a massive wolf. You can usually find it in Arctic biomes, and you will always find it in packs. It is a simple knockout tame that requires superior kibble, but you can also use meat. It does not require a saddle to ride it, and it does not have a saddle. It has a standard bite attack, and then it has a sniff ability that allows you to sniff out explore notes and Purlovias hidden in the ground. And then it has a howl, which you can use when you're in a pack, and it will give you a pack bonus. If you're enjoying this video so far, then make sure to leave a like on it. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you really like it, maybe even subscribe. We're coming up on 30,000 subscribers, and I'd really like to get there, so if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Next up, we have the Dodo. This is a small bird that you can find all around the beaches, and it's a great source of hide in the early game. It is a knockout tame, and it requires basic kibble, but you can also use crops and berries to tame it. Once tamed, it basically does nothing. It does have a bite attack, but it's not that good. You can hold it though, and you can throw it around, which is pretty cool. Following that, we have the Doedicurus, which is a mammal with a giant spiky tail and a huge shell. It can usually be found in higher elevations in places like mountains and large hills. It is a knockout tame, and it requires regular kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 34, and it has a tail swipe that gathers stone, and it has a 75% weight reduction on stone, making it the best stone harvester. It also has a roll ability, and it's quite quick underwater. Next up, we have the Dragon, which is mainly a boss on the island. It is the biggest of the 3 island bosses, and it is the hardest by far. It has a fire breath that deals 20% of whatever health you have, so basically 5 breaths and your entire army is dead. So you have to do this one fast, and that makes it quite difficult. It also just has a pretty strong bite, but also during the fight it'll spawn pteranodons and dimorphodons as its minions that are pretty high level that you also have to deal with. It can also shoot fireballs at you from the sky as well. Then we have the Drakeling, which is a tiny shoulder pet dragon. There are 4 types: autumn, summer, winter, and spring. In order to tame them, you have to hold a torch out and they'll go on your shoulder. You do the tasks and then feed them. They require exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. Once tamed, if you put it on your shoulder, it gets a native biome boost, which only activates if you're in its native biome. You also have a stored XP counter that caps out at 30k. You can put the Drakeling on your arm. It has a bite, a breath, and it can shoot its XP out, which gives you a dragon horde key. It'll send you to a location on the map, and you can open the chest with the best loot in the game. It also has a parachute mode. Next we have the Dreadmare, which is a large demonic Pegasus. It only spawns at night, and in order to tame one, you have to kill one to get an altar. You place the altar down, give it the tribute it asks for, and then you have to fight it. Do that multiple times until it's tamed. Once tamed, it does not need a saddle to ride. It has 360 turning radius in the air and can go up and down. It also has a dive ability. It has a bite attack, then it has its dark wind ability, which shoots dark wind. It has the aura of hate, which drains health on enemies, and the terror shield. And my favorite is the black hole, where you can basically cryopod creatures but keep their inventories. Next we have the Dreadnoughtus, which is the second largest sauropod in the game. It's found in the wasteland, and in order to tame it, you need to reload it with element to an element node. Then you have to fight off waves until it's tamed. It requires a platform saddle to ride at level 100. It has a neck swipe attack that does thousands of damage, and this also does a tail swipe that also does thousands of damage and tons of knockback. It can shoot poison covered cannonballs, and it has an element breath. And when it's in the presence of large creatures, it gets a Titan killer buff. Depending on how big they are is how big the buff is, and Titans give it the largest buff at 50%. Next we have the Dung Beetle. It's a big beetle that likes eating poop. You can find it in caves or in sand dunes. It is a passive tame and takes feces to tame, but you can also use spoiled meat for lower effectiveness. Once tamed, you can pick it up, but its main ability is related to poop. It can automatically pick up poop in the area, and if you give it poop in its inventory and put it on wander, it will automatically create fertilizer and oil. Next we have the Dunkleos Deuces, which is a large underwater creature. Don't really know how to describe it. Got a big like shell thing for a face. It is a knockout tame and it requires superior kibble, but you can also use other meats. It requires a saddle to ride at level 44. It has a bite ability that can gather stone, metal, oil, and crystal, and it has weight reductions. It has a 75% weight reduction on obsidian and a 50% weight reduction on stone, metal, oil, crystal, and black pearls. Next up we have the Eel Minion, which is basically a baby version of Modare found in the Genesis Part 1 Modare boss fight. It has like electrical balls it can shoot and it can stun you, but that's about it. Next up we have the Elder Claw, which is a giant tree bear. You can mainly find it in forests, and how you tame it is you have to kill one and it will give you an egg, which you have to plant and then wait for it to hatch. While it's planted, you have to give it items that it asks for. Once you've raised your Elder Claw, it does not require a saddle to ride, and it gets a natural armor. It has a swipe attack, and then it has the totem ability where it places a totem down, and the more things you kill, it charges up to the ability, and once it maxes out, you can enlarge your Elder Claw and make it stronger. It has a root attack which traps creatures, and a bark shield which gives you damage reduction. Next up is the Electrophorus, which is just a giant eel. They're found in ocean biomes and they are highly aggressive. They can electrocute you, which will stun you, making it to where you can't move. They are a passive tame, and they require biotoxin to tame, but you can also use other meats. Once tamed, you cannot ride them, and you can make them attack stuff and shock them. That's about it. Next up we have the Enforcer, which is a robot that can be found in the Sanctuary and Extinction, and will attack you if a scout spots you attacking a creature. And in order to tame one, you just have to build one, but if you kill a wild one, you'll get a blueprint for one, which will usually be better than the primitive one that you can make in the city terminals. Once you have one, you do not need a saddle to ride it. It can run pretty quick. It has a teleport ability, and it can run on walls. It has a swipe attack that does 4x damage to corrupted creatures. Next up we have the Equus, which is just a prehistoric horse. It is a passive tame where you have to ride it and then feed it as it rears. It requires simple kibble. The second best is rock carrot, but you can also use other crops and berries. You can ride it without a saddle, but you can also make a saddle for it, which is unlocked at level 20. It has a bite attack. It has a kick attack, which does torpor damage, and it can also rear up. Its saddle works as a mortar and pestle, and it has an 85% weight reduction on cactus sap, sand, cementing paste, and clay, and a 50% weight reduction on stone, chitin, and keratin. It also has a lasso. Next up we have the Eurypterid, which is like an underwater scorpion. You can usually find it at the bottom of the ocean, but on Ragnarok you can find it in the Vikings Bay, and they cannot swim up. You can only find them at the bottom of the ocean. They are aggressive and they deal torpor damage, so they can knock you out if you let them hit you. They are untamable, but when you harvest them, they give you black pearls, silica pearls, and oil, so these things are pretty good for harvesting black pearls early on. Next up we have the Exomech, which is a big robot. In order to craft the Exomech, you need to defeat Rockwell Prime to learn the engram. The Exomech is powered by element, and its inventory works as a tech replicator. It can run pretty fast. It has a jump that is really floaty, and then it has a super jump. It has 3 modes: a combat mode with a attack, and then a slam attack. It has like a construction mode where you can move structures, and then there's a storage mode where you can pick up structures and put them in your inventory. And it also has an RTS control mode. Next we have the Phasolosuchus, which is basically a giant sand crocodile. It's found in the dunes. It's knockout tame, and in order to knock it out, you have to throw explosives on it when it buries in the ground, and that will stun it, making it to where you can ride it, and then you have to swim it into rocks until it passes out. It takes exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 70. It has a bite attack and a tail swipe attack that shoots thorns. Its bite attack gives an effect that reduces armor effectiveness. It can swim in the sand, which gathers flint from rocks, and it has a whirlpool ability that does thousands of damage. Next up is the Featherlight, which is a flying little bird shoulder pet on Aberration. It can be found in the red zone, and it is a passive tame. Its preferred food is plant species Z seeds, but you can also use uric mushrooms. Once tamed, it works like any other shoulder pet. It'll scare off Nameless and give you light. Next up we have Fenrir, which is a wolf in Norse mythology. You cannot find these things in the wild. They are only in boss fights as minions, but you can tame one, and how you tame it is you kill Fenrir Sulfur and you get it as a reward in a cryopod. The Fenrir does not need a saddle to ride. It has a bite attack, and then it has a howl that will give it the frigid armor, which reduces incoming damage, also gives out recoil damage, and gives you resistance to freeze damage. The Fenrir can also preserve Nameless Venom in its inventory. Next up we have Fenrir Sulfur, which is the final boss of Fjordur and is a giant Fenrir. In order to get to this boss fight, you should defeat all the mini bosses on Fjordur and all of the main bosses, the Broodmother Dragon and Megapithecus on Fjordur. Fenrir Sulfur is pretty powerful. It has a bite attack, it has an ice breath that can freeze stuff, it has a ability where it kind of like sniffs and then shoots icicles out of the ground, and then it has an ability where it can shoot a spirit wolf out that like instantly kills you, and it freezes your dino in place. Next we have the Ferox, which is a small four-armed pet that can transform into a monster. You find it in the Arctic in Genesis Part 1. In order to tame it, you must feed a small one element. It'll transform and you have to survive. Keep doing this until it's tamed. Once tamed, you will have it as a shoulder pet, and to transform it, you have to feed it element, but this will get it addicted to element. When it transforms, you do not need a saddle to ride it. It has a swipe attack that gets faster the more you use it, a ground pound, and a boulder throw. It can jump, and consecutive jumps make it jump farther, as well as it can climb on walls. Following that, we have the Fjord Hawk, which is a hawk found on Fjordur. In order to tame them, you have to hunt with them. You just have to kill creatures and they will eat it, and that will give it taming. Once tamed, it is a shoulder pet that can highlight creatures for you that once you deal damage to them, it'll be orange if they've taken damage and then white if you kill them. But its main ability is when you die, it will bring your bag back to you, so you can just automatically get all your stuff back. Next up, we have the Forest Titan, which is another world boss, and it is the tallest of the titans. It can stun you in its roots, and it spawns forest wyverns that you can actually ride and use against it. In order to tame it, you have to clear the corruption off of it. Once tamed, it automatically equips a platform saddle to it. It is the slowest of the titans. It has a hand swipe ability as well as a stomp ability. It has a root attack where it puts its hands on the ground and captures everything nearby in roots, and then it has a grab attack where it shoots a giant root out and grabs a creature. Next we have the gotchas, which are kind of like giant sloths that spawn in the sunken forest. To tame them, you must throw their food on the ground. Tech is best, greenhouse is second, metal's third, but you can also use stone and other resources. They require a saddle to ride at level 38. They have a swipe attack and a ground pound. They produce resources on their back. They have different resources for each one you tame, and you can pick which one you want. They can also drop crystals that give you loot. Feed them snow owl pellets to increase their effectiveness. Gotchas will get sad if there's 2 males in the area. As you can see, I killed his friend and now he's happy. Sad gotchas will produce less resources. Next up we have the Gallimimus, which is a really fast herbivore. They are a simple knockout tame, and their preferred food is simple kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. They require a saddle to ride at level 29. They have a bite attack, and they have a 3-seater saddle. But other than that, they are really fast, so they're good for early game travel, and they can also jump pretty far. Next we have the gas bags, which is like a giant larva that stores gas. It's found on the wastelands and extinction. It is a knockout tame that requires superior kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It does not need a saddle to ride, but you can make a saddle for it. The saddle is unlocked at level 43. The gas bags has a bite attack, and it can store up gas, which you can use for 2 different abilities. One, you can push creatures back, or you can use it to fly in the air, but be careful because you will take fall damage. Gas bags also have a really high weight stat, so they're good for moving items. Next up we have the giant bee. It is a massive bee, and you can find a hive of them in a beehive, which can be found in redwood biomes on the redwood trees. It can also be found on cliff faces. If you aggravate the bee nest, a bunch of smaller bees will come out and start attacking you. But if you aggravate it enough, the queen giant bee will come out, and that is the one you can tame. You have to passively tame it. Its preferred food is simple kibble, but rare flowers are the second best, and then you can use meat. Once tamed, you can pick it up and turn it into your own personal beehive, which can be used to get mass amounts of honey honey. Next up we have the Giga Desmodus. It is a massive Desmodus being ridden by the Lost King in the Lost Colony final boss fight. Once you defeat the Lost King, you receive an egg for the Giga Desmodus. It requires a saddle to ride. It also has a platform saddle. Both can be learned from defeating the Lost King and Queen. It is a permanent tame that can fly around. It has a dive and can pick up creatures. It has a bite attack, and it has a blood breath that does a lot of damage but drains your health when you use it. And it has a finisher move which you can use on an enemy that has low health that will instantly kill them. Next up we have the Gigantopithecus, which is basically like Sasquatch.
You eat babies.
It is a passive tame and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use berries. It does not need a saddle to ride, and you can put hats on him. It is a hand swipe attack which you can use to hit things, and you can also gather berries and fiber with it. The Gigantopithecus can throw you off its shoulders and actually throws you pretty far, and it can also climb on zip lines. Next up we have the Gigantoraptor, which is kind of like a giant flightless bird. It spawns in with a baby in a nest. You can only tame the baby. You have to distract the adult with fertilized eggs, and then hop in the nest and do dances with the baby until it tames. It requires a saddle to ride at level 69. It has a quick run, but it can also kind of glide like a terror bird. It has a bite attack, and then it has a roar that can locate babies in the area. You can also put babies on its saddle, which you can get 30% imprinting on by killing creatures it requests you to kill.
Kill-tacular.
It also has a feather you can pluck, which can help you breed stats together. Next up we have the Gigantosaurus, or the Giga. It is the largest carnivorous theropod in the game, and in the wild they have over 100,000 health and can deal tons of damage to you, so you need to be careful. They are a knockout tame. It prefers exceptional kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower effectiveness. It requires a saddle to ride at level 96. It is a bite which can do thousands of damage if leveled. It does bleed damage, and it has a roar. The Giga also has a rage meter, where if you take too much damage or take too much fall damage, it will turn on you and start killing you. Following that we have the glow bug, which is a glowing bug that you can find on Aberration. They are untamable and they are found in the wild, producing charged light, which you can go up to them and harvest with a charged battery. Next up we have the Glowtail, which is another Aberration light pet. This one kind of looks like a lizard and can be found on certain caves on Aberration. Its preferred food is plant species Z seeds, but you can also use Azerbeg mushrooms. Once tamed, it works like all the other light pets. You can use it to produce charged light, which will scare away Nameless, as well as weaken Reapers. Next up we have the Gloon, which is interesting looking.
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
It is found on the aberrant zones in Lost Colony. It always has a horde of Revenant near it, and when it spots you, they will attack you, and it will also mesmerize you. To tame it, you have to shoot its eyes out, clear the Revenant, and feed it basic kibble. It is a shoulder pet that you could put on your arm. It has a laser eye ability. It has a mesmerize ability, which stops creatures from attacking you. Then it has necrotic mark, which is basically like a pheromone dart. It can also shoot charge light out of its eyes and works as a parachute. Next up we have the Grand Tortuga, which is kind of like a giant turtle, but not really, and it's found in Austraeos. Its preferred food is superior kibble. Once tamed, you do not need a saddle to ride it, but you can make one at level 42, and it has a platform saddle at level 52. It has a bite and a tail swipe attack. It has a large shell that you can open and close and fit multiple passengers inside. When inside the shell, you can breathe underwater. This thing's a pretty good swimmer, and it can walk on the bottom of the ocean. It can harvest black pearls and has a 90% weight reduction on black pearls. Next up we have Grindel, which is the boss on Valguero. It is basically just a giant mega raptor with a skull on its head and bones down its tail. It will jump from out of the sky and then jump back into the sky, and you have to fight waves of Deinonychus and vultures, and then there'll be parts where it blinds you and you have to go to these cauldrons to summon it back in so you can fight it again. Next up we have the Griffin, which is a mythical creature found on Ragnarok. It is a knockout tame and it prefers extraordinary kibble, but you can also use meat. It does not need a saddle to ride and has a spot for a second passenger. It's pretty quick and can move in different directions, as well as it has a dive ability, which you can also dive bomb to do a ton of damage. It has a swipe attack and it can do a grab, which can only pick up small creatures. Next up we have Hati and Skull, which are both from Norse mythology. They are just bigger Fenrir's, and there's two of them and they always come together. They are a mini boss on Fjordur in the Asgard realm. They will spawn minions, which are just Fenrir's that you have to fight, and then you have to fight both of them together at once. Next up we have the Helicoprion, which is like a giant shark with a chainsaw mouth. In order to tame it, you have to throw it a high quality item, and then you can ride it. When you ride it, it will go in random directions, kind of like a Equus tame, and you have to wait for it to tire out, and once it tires out, out, you can feed it its preferred food, which is little ratfish treats. It requires a saddle to ride at level 91. Its main ability is it can turn items into blueprints. It has a success rate stat, which determines how successful the transformation will be. It also has a bite attack and a tail whip that stuns, and it gives you resistance to ink and ammonite bile. Following that, we have the Hesperornis, which is like a really weird looking duck. It's found near rivers, and in order to tame it, you have to drag fish to it like an otter tame. Once tamed, it is a shoulder pet, and its main ability is it lays golden eggs, which can be used in certain recipes. Next up, we have the Hyenodon, which is like a prehistoric hyena. You can usually find it in mountainous areas or sometimes in desert biomes. To tame it, you just have to go up to it and pet it, but it can be kind of annoying because it is really skittish. You cannot ride it, but you can make a meat pack for it at level 19. The Hyenodon meat pack will preserve meat in its inventory. Next up, we have the Hydra, which is a boss on Astraeos. It is a massive Hydra with 5 different heads that all shoot different elements. The more damage it takes, the more heads it will lose. And once defeated, you will be rewarded with the Divine Armor Set skin. Next up, we have the Ice Titan, which is the most powerful of the 3 tameable titans. You can fight it for a reward and some element, or you can tame it, and to tame it, you have to clear the corruption off of it. Once tamed, it comes pre-equipped with a tech platform saddle. It has a ground smash, it can shoot giant ice balls, it can also throw ice spikes, and it has an ice breath ability. It's also got pretty decent movement. It can turn 360 degrees and can jump super far, but you can only keep it for 24 hours. Next up, we have the Ichthyornis, which is just a little demon that doesn't deserve to be talked about, so we're going to be moving on. Kill you. Next, we have the Ichthyosaurus, which is like a prehistoric dolphin. It is quite friendly in the wild, and it'll actually come up to you and follow you around. It is a passive tame, and it prefers simple kibble, but you can also use other meats for lower effectiveness. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 13. It's a pretty fast swimmer, so it's pretty good in the early game for just escaping bigger creatures. Its only ability is a bite attack, but it is resistant to Eurypterids. And I guess we can talk about the Ichthyornis, because I know someone's going to complain about it. It is kind of like a pelican. It is aggressive, and it will attack you, and it will steal food from your inventory and instantly eat it. Even if it's an entire stack, it will eat the entire stack in half a second. It is a knockout tame and requires regular kibble, but you can also use fish meat. Once tamed, it is a shoulder pet that you can actually use to go hunting for fish. You can throw it out and it will go dive in the water and get fish for you and bring them back to you. Next up, we have the Iguanodon, which is a herbivore that is neutral in the wild. It is a knockout tame that requires simple kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 30. And once tamed, it has 2 stances, a 2-legged stance and a 4-legged stance. In the 2-legged stance, you can do a thumb attack, which can harvest berries and do decent damage. And in the 4-legged stance, you cannot attack, but you have infinite stamina when sprinting, and you run faster. It also has the ability to convert berries into seeds from its inventory. Following that, we have the Insect Swarm, which is a giant swarm of bugs that can be found in the bog biome in Genesis Part 1. They are untamable, and they are aggressive and will attack you on sight. After that, we have the Jerboa, which can be found in desert biomes. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is plant species Y seeds, but you can also use crops and berries. It is a shoulder pet that will warn you when storms are coming. It'll make different noises for each storm. It can warn you about rain, thunderstorms, sandstorms, heat waves, and if you're on aberration, it can warn you about earthquakes. Next up is the Jugbug, which can be found in desert biomes. There are 2 variants of Jugbugs. There's a water Jugbug and an oil Jugbug. The water Jugbug you can drink from, and the oil Jugbug you can take oil from. They are not tameable, and once you take a resource from them, they will fly away. Following that, we have the Kairuku, which is a penguin. They can usually be found on icebergs, but they can also be found in Arctic biomes. And if you kill them and beat their bodies with clubs, you get organic polymer from them. Okay. They are a knockout tame that require basic kibble, and you can also use other meat. Once tamed, they can be picked up, and they give you insulation when you stand near them. You can also put hats on them as well. Next up, we have the Caprosuchus, which is kind of like a big, lanky crocodile. It's found in the swamps, and in the wild, it can dismount you, so you need to be careful. It is a knockout tame, and it prefers regular kibble, but you can also use other meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 39. And once tamed, it has 2 bite attacks, one kind of weaker one, and then one that takes longer to bite, but its main ability, of course, is its pounce, which can grab small creatures, and it can dismount players off their mounts. Next, we have the Carcanos, which is a giant crab found on aberration. You can find them near rivers or in water. They are a knockout tame, but you have to knock them out with either cannons, rockets, or catapults. Their preferred food is exceptional kibble, and the second best is spoiled meat, but you could also use regular meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 65. You can slam down each claw individually or both at the same time, as well as each claw can pick up 1 creature, and and it has a super far jump. Following that, we have the Kentrosaurus, which is kind of like a smaller Stegosaurid. It's usually found in mountainous areas and it's aggressive. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It is not rideable. The Kentro does recoil damage, meaning whenever it takes damage, it does a percentage of that damage back to whatever hit it. It can also impale enemies with its spiky tail and hold them in its tail and do a bleed effect. Next up, we have the King Titan, which is the final boss of Extinction and the most powerful of the Titans. It is untamable, and of course it is a boss. It has over 1,000,000 health, and it spawns an army of corrupted creatures. It is a ground smash attack that does thousands of damage that can basically wipe out almost anything you have if it's not like a Titan. It can also shoot giant purple balls. It is one of the most powerful bosses in Ark, but you can also bring as many creatures as you want to it, so you need to be prepared for this one. Next up, we have the Lamprey, which is basically like a leech for Aberration. They are found in the bioluminescent zone on Aberration, and when they latch onto you, they actually make you resistant to radiation for a little bit. So if you don't have a hazard suit, you can use a lamprey as an alternative. If you want to get it off you, just stand on a fire and it will fall off. You can also tame one with a fish basket, but it doesn't really do anything once you tame it. Following that, we have the leech, which can be found in swamp biomes. They will latch onto you and suck your blood. There's two different types of leeches: the regular one, which is kind of like black and green, and then there's the diseased one, which is usually yellow. The diseased leech will give you swamp fever, which is a disease that will not go away unless cured by lesser antidote. Swamp fever will decrease all of your stats and make you cough all the time, but it does give you increased movement speed. If you want to get rid of a leech, stand on a campfire, and you can also tame them with fish baskets. Next up, we have the Leedsixthus, which is one of the biggest underwater creatures. It is neutral in the wild, and you can go up to it and scrape prime fish meat off of its back. It is also untamable, but it will get aggressive when it sees that you're on a raft, and if you're on a raft, or if there's a raft nearby, it'll start attacking it until it destroys it. After that, we have the Leoplorodon, which is one of the rarest creatures in the game. To tame it, you just have to throw out giant bee honey near it, and then it will go up to it and eat it. Once tamed, you do not need a saddle to ride it. It has a bite attack, and when you're near it, it'll give you a buff that increases loot quality for 6 hours. And after 30 minutes of you taming it, it will disappear forever.
Oh, excuse me!
Following that, we have the Lymantria, which is a giant moth that can be found in desert biomes. When killed, you can harvest their body for lots of silk. They are a knockout tame that prefers regular kibble, but you can also use crops and berries to tame. They require a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 36, and once tamed, you can fly them around, but they have really low stamina and really low speed and really low weight and health and pretty much everything, and they don't have a normal attack. They have a fart attack that can slow down enemies. Next up, we have the Lystrosaur, which is a tiny little passive dinosaur that can be found on beaches. It is a passive tame, and its preferred food is rare flowers, but you can also use berries. Once tamed, you can pet it, which will give an XP bonus to dinosaurs that are standing near it. After that, we have the Mayguana, which is exactly like the Maywing from Ark Survival Evolved. It spawns on Astraeos, and it is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is basic kibble, but you can also use other meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 21. It is easily the fastest creature in the game while it glides around. It has a bite attack, and then it kind of has a flap ability that can gather tons of berries. You can also enable nursing, which will feed nearby babies. Next up, we have the Maywing, which is exactly like the Mayguana, except it looks like a platypus, so it's cooler. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is basic kibble, but you can also use other meats. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 21, and just like the Maywing, it has a bite attack. This one gathers berries, and I think the only difference between the Maywing and the Mayguana is that the flap doesn't actually gather berries on the Maywing. It can glide at the speed of sound, and it has the nursing ability that the Mayguana has. Next up, we have the Meganera, which is like a giant dragonfly that can be found in swamps. You can find them in other places too, but they are most common in swamps and in caves as well. They are untamable, and they are aggressive, so they will attack you on sight, and when they hit you, they deal a poison effect that drains your stamina. When you kill them, you can harvest them for chitin. Next up, we have the Magmasaur, which is a giant molten creature found in the volcanic biome in Genesis Part 1. In order to get one, you have to steal an egg from inside the volcano. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 95, and its abilities include a bite attack, which can gather metal and stone. It can also smelt metal in its inventory. Using the metal ingots as ammo, it can charge up up a lava ball attack, and it can shoot out molten rocks which work as cluster bombs that come out from all sides. Next up we have the Malwyn, which is an evolution of the Veilwind. In order to tame a Malwyn, you must first get a Volprite, which you put in a blood forge and combine with red element shards, and this will create a corrupted Volpite which you can feed to your Veilwind that has 100% companion level, and this will transform it into a Malwyn. It requires a saddle to ride at level 65. It has a bite and a tongue wiggle. It can also slide while running, but mainly it can apply debuffs to enemies and stack them, as well as teleport to them. Next we have the Mammoth, which is found in snow biomes. They're a knockout tame that takes superior kibble and or crops and berries. They require a saddle to ride at level 31. The saddle has a drum set on the back that you can use, and when you play the drums you get increased stamina and resistance to fear roars from Uties. It has a tusk swipe attack, and if you hit straight forward it can actually do it way faster. You can also pick up small enemies and throw them super far. And it has a roar that gives a damage debuff. It can gather wood with its stomp, and it has a 75% weight reduction on wood. Following that we have the Mana Garmer, which can be found in the snow biome and Extinction. It's a knockout tame. Its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 66. It has a swipe attack, and it has an ice breath that can freeze creatures in place. But its main ability is its unique movement. It can run super fast, it can jump 3 times in the air, it can strafe in the air, and it has a dash that it can do once in the air. Following that we have the Manta, which can be found in oceans. You can usually find a big pack of them following a Basilosaurus. They're passive tame, and their preferred food is angler gel. Once tamed, they require a saddle to ride at level 28. They have a stinger attack, and they can move up and down in the water, and they are one of the few creatures that can jump out of the water. But if you jump on land, you're not going to last very long at all. Following that we have the Manticore, which is the boss of Scorched Earth. It can do a decent amount of damage. It has a poison attack that can deal torpor damage to you, which can actually knock you out, so you need to be careful. It can also hit you with its stinger, and near the end of the fight it'll start spawning death worms and rock golems. Following that we have the Mantis, which is a giant praying mantis that can be found in dunes and volcanic biomes. You can kill it and harvest it in the wild to get organic polymer. It is a passive tame, and it prefers deathworm horns, but you can also use woolly rhino horns for lower effectiveness. It requires a saddle to ride at level 45, and once tamed you could put items in its hands. So for example, you could put picks or hatchets in its hands to gather resources, or you could put swords in its hands to deal more damage. It has a swipe attack that gathers fiber, and it can do a pounce, which does a lot of damage. Next up we have the Megachelon, which is a giant turtle with 6 legs that can be found in the Genesis Part 1 ocean biome. In order to tame it, you have to lead a pack of a parakeet fish school to it, and then let it eat it while you defend it. It requires a saddle to ride at level 45. Once tamed, it can swim and go on land. It has a bite attack, and it has a bubble breath underwater, and on land it just kind of shoots air. And when you're underwater, it produces bubbles on its back which give you air. It can also grow vegetation on its back over a long period of time, which will give you rare mushrooms. Following that we have the Megalania, which is a large reptile that can be found in caves. When it hits you, it gives you mega rabies, which will rapidly drain your health and stamina. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is extraordinary kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 73. It has a bite attack which can inflict mega rabies and also like a claw swipe, but its main ability is it can climb on walls and ceilings. After that we have the Megaloceros, which is like a large elk that can be found in redwood biomes. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is simple kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride at level 30. The males and females both have different abilities. Of course, the males have the antlers, which means they can deal an attack, which is like a head bash that can gather thatch. And the females don't have any attacks, but they can run extremely fast. Next up we have the Megalodon, which is a giant shark that can be found commonly throughout the ocean. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use other meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 47. It has a bite attack that does bleed damage. It will not do bleed damage in the wild though. They're also pack dinos, so they get a bonus from having others around, and the Megalodon has a tech saddle, which you can shoot lasers out of. Following that we have the Megalosaurus, which is a nocturnal carnivorous theropod. You can find it in caves. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use other meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 57, and the Megalosaurus is unique because during the day it will sleep, and if you try to use it, it'll be extremely sleepy and pretty weak, but at nighttime it will wake up and it will get a buff to where it is actually pretty strong during the night. It has a bite attack, and it can pick up creatures and kill them in its mouth. Next up we have the Megaraptor, which is a carnivorous theropod found on Volguero. It is a knockout tame. To knock it out you have to go to its altar and then you hit it with a torch until it passes out. Its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but it also takes meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 60. It has 360 turning, it can strafe in any direction, and has a double jump. It has a claw attack, and then it has a pounce attack. You can hunt a creature, which will show their health, and the Megaraptor works better alone. It is stronger when there's only one of them. If there's multiple of them, it gets weaker. Next up we have the Megapithecus, which is a massive gorilla. It is one of the 3 guardians on the island, which means it's a boss, which means you cannot tame it. Probably the easiest of the 3 island bosses, but it still is a little bit strong. It has a ground smash ability, it can throw giant rocks that deal lots of damage, and it can summon Gigantopithecus and Mesopithecus from the sky. Its arena also has a giant hole in it that if you fall into it, you instantly die. Following that we have the Megatherium, which is a massive sloth. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use giant bee honey and meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 52. It has a claw swipe and a bite. It can harvest chitin and fiber. When you kill an insect or anything that drops chitin, it gives you the insect killer buff, which gives you a 250% damage increase and a 75% damage reduction. Following that we have the mech, which can be crafted. In order to get a higher level mech, you have to find blueprints for better ones, but they're going to be very expensive. Once you make it, you can ride it and it requires element to fuel it. It has a laser pistol that can shoot very quick. It's got a sword that does a decent amount of damage, and it has thrusters that will allow it to fly for a very short amount of time until they overheat and then you have to stop. It has 3 attachments, one that shoots rocket artillery shells. There's another one that has rocket pods, and then the last one is a force field. Next up we have the Mesopithecus, which is a little monkey. It is a passive tame and its preferred food is basic kibble, but you can also use berries. It is a shoulder pet, and if you put it on wander, it'll go around and gather berries for you. Also, while on your shoulder, it can throw poop at enemies, which will slow them down. It also has the ability to open locked doors. Next up we have the Microraptor, which is a little annoying bird that will come and fly up to you and knock you off your mount, and then stun you for 10 seconds. It's found usually in the redwood biomes, but it can be found on all kinds of other maps. They like to put this thing on every map. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is rare flowers, and the second best is rare mushrooms, and then you can also use any other meat. Once tamed, it is a shoulder pet that you can use in PvP to dismount players, just like how it does to you in the wild. Next up is the Minotaurs, which are enemies that are untamable. They are found in Astraeos and the artifact of the Hunter Cave. You will always find 2 of them that will spawn in guarding the artifact, and they are just enemies to fight. Following that is the Minotaur boss found in the Minotaur Cave in the desert biome. It is a way larger version of the Minotaur that is its own mini boss, and in this cave you cannot use cryopods or anything, so you just have to bring what you can in order to fight it. Next up is Modair, which is a massive underwater boss that you can fight on Genesis Part 1. The boss fight starts out with her hiding with her head poking out, and you have to kill her eel minions, and once you do, she'll come out and you have to fight her in waves. Once you do that, you kind of just rinse and repeat for a few waves until she's defeated. Following that is the Morellatops, which is kind of like a camel dinosaur found in deserts. In the wild, they are passive, but if there's more than one of them, they will attack you back. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is simple kibble, and the second best is cactus sap, and then of course you can use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 11. It has a head swipe to gather berries and a stomp, but mainly it can get water from water sources and store it. Then you can drink out of it, as well as it can fill nearby water containers and irrigate your crops. Following that, we have the moss chops, which is a small little creature you can find on the beaches. They are a passive tame, and they will ask for a random item, and in order to tame it, you have to give it that specific item. Once tamed, they do not require a saddle. You can ride them, and their main attack will gather fiber, and you can also do a secondary attack. They have a bunch of different resources they can harvest, and each level you get, you can also upgrade the resource harvesting efficiency of the specific resource type you want. You can also put it on wander for it to automatically gather resources. Next up, we have the Mosasaurus, which is a giant underwater reptile. It's found near the bottom of the ocean, and it won't come up near the surface. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 78, and it has a platform saddle, which is unlocked at level 93, and then it has a tech saddle, which is a techgram. When it comes to abilities, all it has is a bite, but the bite is pretty strong. Following that, we have the Nameless, which can be found in the depths of Apparition. They're like little monsters that come out in the darkness, and there will always be one alpha of the group that will be glowing a bright orange and is way bigger than the other ones, and eventually they can spawn a Reaper Queen in. Their weakness is light. light. So if you bring something like a light pet or a charge lantern, they will weaken and take more damage, and then they will go away. If not, and they're in the darkness, they will have a resistance to damage, so they'll be really hard to kill. Following that, we have Matrix, which is literally just Medusa. It is a boss on Astraeos, and it is a pretty powerful one. I believe it can deal poison damage to you, and it spawns Onyx during the boss fight. Following that, we have Neophytes, which are large humanoid bat creatures, and they will only come after you when you have a 50+ wanted rating from the Lost King. They have a unique attribute where they don't take that much damage from creatures. They have a huge damage resistance, and the only way to deal normal damage to them is by hitting them with weapons, either melee weapons or ranged weapons. They can have up to like 80 or 90k health, but they do drop a pretty good loot. Next up, we have the Noglin, which is a very tiny little creature that can mind control things. In order to tame it, you have to let it mind control your creatures, and then it has to do that for a lot of them. The bigger the creature, the more effectiveness you get. Once tamed, it is a shoulder pet that you can use to mind control creatures and players. It works on wild and tamed creatures. You also have the ability to remote control it, which will allow you to control the minds of creatures that way. After that, we have Nunatak, which is the custom boss for Ragnarok. It is just a massive ice wyvern. It looks a little bit different. It's got some more icicles on its head. But other than that, it is just a giant ice wyvern boss. And once again, this is only on Ragnarok, and it's untamable because it is a boss. Next, we have the Oasisaur, which is a giant Titanosaur-sized behemoth. To tame it, you have to give it one of your creature's souls, and then you have to defend it from a wave of vultures. Once done, it will be tamed. It does not require a saddle to ride. The Oasisaur will only eat potted plants. It has the ability to fly as well. It has a giant oasis you can build on. If you place crop plots down, they will be fully fertilized and have the greenhouse effect. It has magical water that gives you a special bonus. It can grow resources on its back, and it can bring your creatures back to life. It'll bring them back as a baby, and it has a 24-hour cooldown. Next up, we have the Onyx, which is a large bat that can be found in most caves. They are highly aggressive, and they will give you mega rabies. They are a passive tame, and their preferred food is raw mutton, but you can also use other meat. You cannot ride them, and they're not a shoulder pet either. They just kind of sit there and do nothing. Next up, we have the Osidon, which is a massive monster that can be found on Lost Colony. To tame it, you have to start knocking it out. Once it gets to half torpor, it'll get stunned. Then you ride it, it'll start making a ball, which you have to catch creatures in, as well as catch the icicles to get its taming effectiveness up. It requires a saddle to ride at level 74. It has a swipe attack, and on the third swipe, it does double damage. It can shoot icicles that slow and damage targets, and it can create giant balls. The bigger they get, the more damage they do when they explode. Each stat changes the appearance of the Osidon in a unique way when upgraded. Next up, we have the Otter. It can be found in rivers, and to tame it, you just have to drag a fish up to it, and it will eat it and then be tamed. It is a shoulder pet, and it will give you insulation when on your shoulders. You can send it to get fish for you. When it kills fish, it can get silica pearls from them. It also has the ability to hold multiple of the same type of artifact. Next up, we have the Overseer, which is the final boss of the island. In order to fight it, you must defeat all 3 of the previous island guardians, and you have to go through the entire tech cave to get to the Overseer battle. It is shaped like a giant implant, and when it starts, it'll have a shield around it which you cannot destroy. The shield will go down occasionally, and that's when you can attack it, and in this state, it will move around really quickly and shoot lasers, which can dismount you. After you deal enough damage, it'll transform into the previous bosses, so it'll turn into the Broodmother, then the Megapithecus, and then the Dragon. Next up, we have the Oviraptor, which can usually be found on beaches and eats eggs. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is special eggs, so things like wyvern and rock drake eggs, but the second best would be extra large, and then medium, and I think you get the point. Once tamed, its main ability is to pick up eggs for you. You can pick up fertilized or non-fertilized eggs. You can choose which one it wants, and this thing is extremely helpful if you're mass breeding. It is important to note it only does that on Ark Survival Ascended. On Ark Survival Evolved, it just makes your creatures lay eggs faster. Following that, we have the Ovis, which is a sheep. It is a very rare spawn in Arctic biomes, but on some maps that have plains, they spawn pretty commonly. When you kill them, you get mutton from them, which is the best food for taming carnivores, and you can also get a ton of pelt and hide. They are a passive tame. Their preferred food is sweet veggie cakes, and they don't need a saddle to ride. Once tamed, you can ride them. They have a headbutt attack, and they can climb surfaces that normal creatures can't. The males and the females look different, and you can also shear them for wool. Next up, we have the Paki, which is like a small herbivore that can usually be found around beaches and in the forests. It can deal torpor damage to you if you attack it, so you need to be careful. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is simple kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 14. It has a head bash attack, and then it has a charge attack where you charge it up, and then you go super fast in one direction, and you can deal some decent damage. Next up, we have the Patchy Rhinoceros, which is one of only 2 ceratopsians in the game. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is bug repellent, but you could also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride at level 27. It has a head bash attack, and then it has 2 different gases it can shoot out. The first one makes you hidden from nearby enemies, and the second one makes everything around you attack you. Next up we have the Paracer, which is a giant land mammal found in swamps. It's a knockout tame and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 41, and you can also make a platform saddle for it at level 50. The only thing it has is a stomp attack, which can do some damage and gather berries. Following that, we have the Parakeet Fish School, which is a school of fish that will swim around in the oceans of Genesis Part 1, and then they will target you and start attacking you. The only use for them is feeding them to the Mega Chelon to tame them. Next up, we have the Parasaur, which is one of the most common starter tames in Ark. It is a herbivore and it is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is basic kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 9. It has a bite attack, which can gather berries. Then it has a scan ability, which will scan nearby area for enemies, and it will mark them with red.
Enemy spotted.
You can also put it on auto detect just to have it as a detector in your base. Then it has the ability to scare away small creatures like raptors. Next up, we have the Pegomastax, which is a no good little rat that'll come and steal stuff from you. To tame it, you have to let it steal something from your last inventory slot. Its preferred food is mejo berries. Once tamed, usually not by your own will, you can use it to steal other people's items in PvP, and in PvE, you can't really do anything with it, but you can use it as a shoulder pet. After that, we have the Pelagornis, which is a giant pelican that can be found flying above the ocean. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use fish meat. Once tamed, it will only eat fish, and it requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 43. It can fly, and it has a bite attack, which is really great at harvesting organic polymer. It also has an 80% weight reduction on organic polymer, and its main ability is it can land on the water and move on the water, and you can also fish off of it for the 3 people that still fish in this game. Following that, we have the Phiomia, which is like a big old pig. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is basic kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 5, and it's the first saddle that you can unlock. It has a bite attack, but its main ability is if you feed it stem berries, it will poop a lot, and you can use this to make fertilizer. Next up, we have the Phoenix, which can only spawn during heat waves on Scorched Earth, and it can now spawn on Astraeos. To tame it, you just have to shoot it with any kind of fire, and eventually it'll tame once you've hit it enough. It does not require a saddle to ride. It has a bite attack, it can shoot fireballs, its bite can harvest flint and metal, it can also smelt metal and cook meat in its inventory, it can poop out silica pearls, and when it flies, if you hold the jump button, it'll start speeding up and it will do a glide, which is really quick. Also in Ark Ascended, you can find them in different colors like blue or purple. After that, we have the Piranha, which can be found in rivers. They are aggressive and they will attack you on sight, and there's usually a decent amount of them that will be attacking you. You can tame them with a fish basket, but they don't really do anything when tamed. Next up, we have the Plesiosaur, which is a large underwater reptile. In the wild, they always spawn in pairs of 2. They are a knockout tame, and their preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use meat. They require a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 64, and they have a platform saddle that can be unlocked at level 84. Once tamed, the Plesiosaur is pretty quick, and all it can do is a bite attack, which is really hard to hit with. Next up is the Procoptodon, which is a giant kangaroo. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is rare flowers, but you can also use plant species X seeds. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 23. Once tamed, it's really quick and has a super jump that you can charge up, and it jumps really far. It's great for travel. It has a bite attack and a kick attack, and it can also pick up baby dinos and store them in its pouch. Following that, we have the Pteranodon, which is a really great early game flyer. It can be found on beaches, and it is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 38, and it has low stamina and low weight, but it is really quick. It has a bite attack, it can pick up small creatures and players, and it has a spin attack, which does a decent amount of damage and shoots you really far forward, but uses a lot of your stamina. After that, we have the Palmlioscorpius, which is a large scorpion that can usually be found in mountains and in caves. It does torpor damage, so it can actually knock you out if you're not careful. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is a regular kibble, but you can also use spoiled meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 22. Once tamed, it has 360 turning radius, and it has a pincher and stinger attack. Both attacks do torpor. Next up, we have the Parlovia, which can usually be found burrowed underneath the ground in Arctic biomes. In the wild, they will jump out and stun you, which will instantly dismount you, stunning you, usually, I say usually, always, in the most inconvenient of times. They are a knockout tame, and their preferred taming food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. You cannot ride them, and you can burrow them in the ground, so I guess you could use this to like hide your stuff, and you can also make them dismount other players. Next is the Pyromane, which is a large fire lion. To tame it, you have to get it wet, damage it enough, then it will let you ride it, then you just have to go kill creatures until it's tamed. It does not need a saddle to ride, but it has a natural armor. You can turn it into a shoulder pet, and then you can pull it out whenever you want. It has a claw swipe attack. It has a fire jump that can go in any direction. It can absorb the heat from its kills to get health back. You can create a trail rail of fire that deals damage. You can also cook meat in its inventory. When you're riding it or have it on your shoulder, it gives you an insulation buff. And when you absorb enough heat, you get a buff that makes you glow. And you can put it to sleep to regen health. Next up, we have the Quetzal, which is a giant flying reptile that can be found super high in the sky and never lands. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred taming food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 76, and it also has a platform saddle, which can be unlocked at level 97. The Quetzal has a lot of stamina as well as a lot of weight, but it's pretty slow. It has a bite attack, and then it has a pickup ability, which you can pick up creatures up to the size of a mammoth. Next up, we have the Raptor, which can always be found in packs, and they are highly aggressive. They are knockout tames, and their preferred food is simple kibble, but you can also use meat. They require a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 18. The more Raptors you have, it increases your pack bonus. The highest level Raptor you have will get the pack leader buff. They have a bite attack, then they have a roar, which only the pack leader can do. Then there's a pounce attack, which allows you to pounce on small creatures and kill them. Following that, we have the Ravager, which is a pack creature that can be found on Aberration. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is raw mutton, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 47. The more Ravagers there are, the higher the pack bonus, and the highest level in the pack becomes the alpha and gets a pack leader bonus. It's got a bite that does bleed damage and a swipe attack. It's got a roar only the alpha can do. It's got a 50% weight reduction on thatch, fiber, wood, stone, metal, obsidian, crystal, green gems, and fungal wood. And it can jump on zip lines. Next up, we have Reapers, which are alien-like dinosaurs found on Aberration. There's two types, queens and kings. The queens are around the size of a giga, and the kings are around the size of a rex. To tame one, you have to let a Reaper queen impregnate you, and then raise it. You will always get Reaper kings. You cannot tame Reaper queens. They don't need a saddle to ride. They have a bite attack, a tail poison that slows enemies, a spin that does knockback. You can bury them in the ground. They have a super high jump, and they have a pretty dope roar. But they get weakened by light. Following that, we have the Rex. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use other meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 74, and it has a tech saddle that you can unlock. It has a bite attack, which is pretty powerful, and it has a really loud roar that can make people poop in fear. It has great overall health and damage, which makes it pretty great for fighting bosses. Following that, we have the Rhiniothatha, which is a gigantic flying bug found in swamps. To tame one, you have to kill one to get a pheromone. Then feed it to a creature you have with high health and get a female Rhiniothatha to low health. Then she will impregnate your dino, and a baby will burst out, killing your dino. It requires a saddle to ride at level 90. It can fly in any direction and walk in any direction. It can also swim and land on walls. Its abilities are powered by resin, which is made from sap. It can pick up and place structures and pick up large dinos like Rexes. It can shoot resin and has a screech. Following that, we have the Rock Drake, which is kind of like a giant lizard that's found on Aberration. To tame one, you have to go to the Rock Drake den and steal an egg. It requires a saddle to ride at level 75. It also has a tech saddle you can unlock from defeating Rockwell. It has a two-seater saddle as well as it can glide. It has a dash that you can do when you have nearby terrain, as well as it can climb on walls. It has a bite attack. It has the ability to switch climbing mode on and off. It can turn invisible, and when its feathers are sticking up, that means that there's a Reaper nearby. You can also feed it nameless venom to heal it quickly. Next up, we have the Rock Elemental, which is a massive rock golem. They're found in deserts, and they're always disguised as a rock. If you get too close, they'll pop out and start attacking you. They have a huge resistance to damage as well. They are a knockout tame, and you have to knock them out with either rockets or cannons. Their preferred food is extraordinary kibble, but you could also use sulfur, clay, or stone. They require a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 70. They have a smash attack, a boulder throw, as well as a spin move. You can also disguise them as a rock. They can also harvest large amounts of stone. Following that, we have Rockwell, which isn't really a creature, it's more like a dude, but you know, we're gonna count it anyway. Rockwell was a survivor, now transformed into the Overseer of Aberration, and it's the final boss fight of Aberration. The fight is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is take out his tentacles, and then it will expose his heart. I don't have footage of this because the game was glitched, but once you defeat his heart, the tentacles come back and you rinse and repeat like 10 times. They also gave him new voice lines.
Have you come here to challenge me?
Who's the fat kid talking to?
Next up, we have Rockwell Prime, which takes place a long time after you defeat him on Aberration. The fight starts with you going through the Genesis Part 2 ship until you find Rockwell, who will be in a cocoon. You then have to kill these 4 little mutated guys with the exomech, and then Rockwell Prime will reveal himself. After that, you have to do enough damage to weaken him, and then you can finish him off with the exomech. Following that, we have the Roll Rat, which is a massive rat that can be found on Aberration. In the wild, they will bury in the ground, and when they pop out, a bunch of gems will come out. If you steal these gems, they will attack you. In order to tame it, you have to wait for it to bury in the ground and then throw honey on the spot it buried. When it comes up, it'll eat the honey and tame. It requires a saddle to ride at level 58. It has a bite attack, and this bite attack is really good at harvesting wood. It has an 80% weight reduction on wood and fungal wood. Its saddle also allows it to roll extremely quick. Following that, we have the Sabertooth. It can be found in Arctic biomes and in desert biomes, as well as you can find it on mountains as well. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 37. The Sabertooth has a bite attack, which can do some decent damage, and is really good at harvesting chitin. It also has a jump as well. Next up, we have the Sabertooth salmon, which is a fish that you can find in rivers. They're neutral, so they will attack you back. They drop prime fish meat, so it's a good way of getting prime fish meat in the early game, and you can tame them with a fish basket. Following that, we have the Sarco, which is a giant crocodile. It can be found in swamps and near rivers. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, and the second best is prime fish meat, but you can also use any other meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked level 35. It has a bite attack, and then it has a death roll attack, which allows you to catch small creatures and kill them. The Sarco is also a extremely fast swimmer, and it doesn't have an oxygen stat, so it can stay underwater forever. The Sarco's bite also allows them to turn in any direction. Following that, we have the Scout. You can find them in the city in Extinction, and if they spot you killing a dinosaur, they will send enforcers after you. You can craft them and make them your own. Once crafted, you will get an item for them where you can throw them out whenever you want. When you're controlling them, there's a first person view, and then there's a third person view. You can do a dash while scouting, and you can use the Scout to heal mechs. Following that, we have the Seeker, which is like a small little flying monster with a tentacle face. They are attracted to light, and they get stronger when in the light, so they're kind of like the opposite of Nameless. You cannot tame them, and the only way to get them to stop attacking you is by turning your light off, but even then, they'll still kind of attack you if they already were. Following that, we have the Shadow Mane, which is like a fish and a lion hybrid. It's found on Genesis Part 2, and to tame it, you have to passively feed it fish baskets. It does not need a saddle to ride, and it has a natural armor. The males and the females look different, and they also give each other new abilities. It has a bite attack. It can go invisible. It can do a charge up ability that allows it to teleport between targets and stun them, and after that, it'll get charged up. It has a roar it can only do with females that gives it a buff. It's got a super jump, and it can swim super fast, and has no oxygen stat, so it can breathe forever. Following that, we have the Shastasaurus, which is the largest ocean creature found on the center. To tame it, you have to be riding an ichthy and lead it to the surface, which will start the taming. It'll have leeches on it, which you have to pull off with a sickle. Then you feed it. Its preferred food is extraordinary kibble, but you can also use fish meat. It requires a tech saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 100. Its saddle is a submarine, which can store structures and dinosaurs. It has a bite and a tail whip. It has a radar scan, as well as a flashbang. It's got a pulse that knocks back enemies. It can shoot torpedoes, and it has a periscope, which works like tech binoculars. Next up, we have the Shinehorn, which is the best light pet in my objective opinion. It's a passive tame, and its preferred food is plant species Z seeds, but you can also use Agrivic mushrooms and sweet veggie cakes. It works just like the other light pets. It'll give off light, which will protect you from Nameless and weaken Reapers. Next up, we have the Cinnamacrops, which can be found on Lost Island. If you wear chitin armor, they will start attacking you in the wild. If you want to tame one, put chitin in your last inventory slot. You'll see love hearts, and then you can passively feed it. Once tamed, you can use it as a shoulder pet. It'll allow you to hover in the air and then glide. It also has a scare ability that can scare away small creatures. Following that, we have the Snow Owl, which can be found in the snow and Extinction and Lost Colony. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 61. When riding it, it has a dive ability. It has a bite attack. You can use it to freeze creatures, which will heal them, making it a good healing alternative if you don't want to use the Daedon. And then it has thermal vision. Next up, we have the Soulwind, which is the evolution of the Veilwind. To tame one, you have to find one, and then you have to have a companion Veilwind next to you. Sneak up to it and do the emotes it says. Once done, it'll give you a Volpite. You then feed the Volpite to your Veilwind, which will transform it into a Soulwind. It requires a saddle to ride at level 58. The Soulwind can jump, and it has a slide. It has 3 buffs that it can give itself. There's Glacial Endurance, which gives it a health buff, Glacial Power, which gives it a damage buff, then Glacial Swiftness, which gives it a speed buff. It can make ice bridges and shoot ice cones. Following that, we have the Spinosaurus, which can usually be found near rivers. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 71. It has 2 stances. Its 4-legged stance and its 2-legged stance. In the 4-legged stance, it's faster, but it has a bite attack that does less damage. In the 2-legged stance, it has a swipe attack that does more damage. And it also has 360 turning radius, but it's slower. It also has a roar, and when it touches water, it gets a hydration buff, which makes it way more powerful. Next up, we have the Stegosaurus. It is a knockout tame. Its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 26. The Stego has a tail swipe attack, and then it has an impale attack. It also gives a 75% 25% weight reduction on berries. But its main ability is its different plate modes. There are 3 different modes. There's Heavy, which applies a slow effect and allows you to gather thatch. There's Sharpened, which gives you armor penetration and allows you to harvest berries. Then there's Hardened, which gives you a damage reduction and allows you to gather wood. Next up we have Steinborn, which is a giant bear covered in rocks. It is a mini boss, so it's untamable and it's only found on Fjordur. It's got damage resistance, so it's pretty tough, and it also spawns rubble bear minions. Then after that we have the Summoners, which are flying squid-like things that you can find in the Rockwell's Innards biome in Genesis Part 2, and they have a giant spotlight coming out of them, and when they see you they can teleport around. They'll open up their mouth, which has a million eyes in it, and they can shoot out these little jellyfish looking things that will summon creatures on top of you. Following that we have the Terrajapa, which in the wild is easily startled and will fly away as soon as it sees you. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 55, and it also has a tech saddle. The Terrajapa can strafe left and right, up and down, and has 360 turning. It has a 3-seater saddle, and if you're in the passenger seat you can use weapons. It has a bite attack, and it has a roar. They can also land on walls, and if you have a tech saddle you can shoot lasers. Following that we have the Tech Strider, which can be found on Genesis 2. It's a giant robot. You can tame it by going up to it and using mutagel and doing a hacking mini game. Once tamed it comes pre-equipped with a saddle, which has a platform, a bed, and its own transmitter. They also come pre-equipped with 2 random attachments. There's Harvest Rig, which harvests almost everything in the game, Shield Generator, Silencer, which stops roars, Shield Projector, which places shields, Pulse Cannon, which shoots lasers, Base Cannon, which shoots bigger lasers, Radar, which scans nearby creatures, and Resource Attractor, which reduces weight on items by 65%. Following that we have the Terror Bird, which is like a giant killer bird that is hyper aggressive that can be found in redwood biomes. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 33. It has a bite attack, and when you jump, if you hold the jump button, it'll kind of flap its wings in the air, which will allow you to glide. Next up we have the Therizinosaurus. It is a large herbivore theropod with massive claws. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 69. It has a claw swipe, which is really good at harvesting wood and does a lot of damage. It has its delicate harvesting attack, aka its tickle attack, which is really good at harvesting fiber. Then it has a bite, which is really good at harvesting berries. Every level you get with the Thera, you can upgrade its harvesting efficiency. Following that we have Thodes the Widowmaker, which is a massive Cyclops boss on Astraeos. It is untamable, and it has a unique mechanic where you have to shoot it in the eye to stun it, which will allow you to deal damage. If you don't, you can damage it still, but you'll barely do any damage. You really have to actually hit it in its eye in order to do proper damage to it. Following that we have the Thorny Dragon, which is like a big spiny lizard that can only be found in desert biomes. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked level 40. The Thorny Dragon has a bite attack, and then it can shoot poisonous thorns. The Thorny Dragon's bite attack is really good at harvesting wood, and on maps like Scorched Earth usually it's your only option to gather wood. It also has a 50% weight reduction on wood, fiber, thatch, and stone. Following that we have one of the best creatures in Ark, the Thylacoleo. In the wild it will sit on redwood trees and then pounce on you when you get close, which will dismount you. It's a knockout tame, and its preferred food is extraordinary kibble, but you can also use cooked meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 51. It has a bite attack which can do bleed damage. It has a really quick run, and it can jump really high, and it has reduced fall damage. It can also climb up walls, and you can stick to the side of a wall and then pounce on enemies as they come by. Following that we have the Titanoboa, which is a massive snake. You can find it in swamps, and it will attack you, and it deals poison damage. To tame it you have to throw out fertilized eggs for it to eat. Once tamed you cannot ride it, and it doesn't really do much. Next up we have the Titanmonirna, which are small little bugs. You can usually find them in swamps and caves, and they are aggressive, and when they hit you they'll deal poison damage that drains your stamina. There's 2 types, Titanmonirna soldiers and Titanmonirna drones. The soldiers walk and the drones can fly. Next up we have the Titanosaur, which is the largest dinosaur in Ark. Only 3 of them can spawn on the map at one time. To tame them you have to hit them in the head with cannonballs, but the easiest way to do it is with the artillery shells from the mech. Once knocked, all you have to do is put its saddle on it and it will insta-tame. It requires a saddle to ride at level 100. Once tamed you can only have it for 24 hours before it dies. It has over 300k health, and it has a stomp attack that can damage tech structures. It can also do a back stomp, and it has a massive platform you can build on. Next up we have the Triceratops, which can usually be found near beaches and is a really good starter tame. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is simple kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride at level 16. It has a head swipe attack, which is good for harvesting berries. Then it has a charge attack, which allows you to go super fast and knock creatures back and deal tons of damage. Trikes will get a rivalry buff when there's a large carnivore nearby, which will make them stronger. You'll know it's active because their face will be glowing orange. Next up we have the Trilobite, trilobite, which is a small creature that can be found on beaches, usually near water. When you kill them, they can drop resources like chitin, oil, silica pearls, and rarely black pearls. You can tame them with a fish basket, but once tamed, they literally do nothing. After that, we have the Troodon, which is a small little carnivorous theropod that hunts at night. They will attack you in packs and they deal torpor damage and can knock you out in a few seconds. They are scared of fire, so if you want to get rid of them, just use a torch. And to tame them, you have to sacrifice your tamed dinos, but they have to be on neutral. And of course, their taming only really goes up if you feed them Carchars and Gigas, so good luck with that. And once you go through all that to tame it, they literally do nothing, so yeah, you just wasted your time. Following that, we have the Tropionathus, which can be found on Crystal Isles and Fjordur. To tame one, you have to hit it with a chain bola, and then you can passively feed it. Its preferred taming food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 65. It has a bite attack, and it can pick up small creatures in its mouth. The Tropio works as a grinder. The Tropio also has 360 turning radius. It also has a jetpack saddle fueled by gasoline. It has 2 different speeds, and then you can turn midair. It can also shoot out grenades. Following that, we have the Tusa, which is a massive squid. It can be found in the depths of the ocean. To tame one, you have to let it grab one of your dinos, and then you can passively feed it. Its preferred food is black pearls, but you could also use cooked prime meat, but it's not going to be very good. I would just suggest using black pearls. It requires a saddle to ride at level 91. It's got a tentacle attack. It can grab almost anything in the game, and while grabbed, you can kill them, and it can shoot ink. It's also resistant to jellyfish and eel stings. Following that, we have the Veilwind, which is a small little companion pet found on Lost Colony. To tame it, all you have to do is sneak up to it and claim it. Once tamed, you can put it on companion mode, and it will follow you wherever you go, and once it dies, it will just have a cooldown until it respawns. You'll get a whistle, which will give you access to its abilities. It can call friends, which will make clones of itself. Then there's moral support buffs, which last as long as the Veilwind is next to you. There's speed, offense, and defense. There's also temporary buffs you can give yourself. After that, we have the Velonosaur, which can be found in the desert in Extinction. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is regular kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 27. It has a hand swipe attack, but its main ability is that it can shoot spikes out of its face, and they deal a lot of damage, but it uses its stamina. It also has a spin that can shoot spikes in all directions, and it has a little jump it can do. Following that, we have the Voidrim, which is a tech wyvern that can be found on Genesis Part 2 in the space biome. To tame one, you have to find one and get it to super low health, and then you'll see blue thrusters come out of it. That's an indicator that you can ride it, so once you ride it, you'll kind of ride it around like an Equus until it starts spinning, and then you feed it mutagen. It does not require a saddle to ride. It has a bite attack, a wing flap that does knockback, then it has its electric breath, which can stun enemies, force flyers to land, and damage tech. Following that, we have the Vulture, which you can find in desert biomes, and they're most common in the dunes. When you kill them and harvest them, you get spoiled meat from their bodies, and they are passive tames. Their preferred food is spoiled meat. Once tamed, they're a shoulder pet, and they work like Dimorphodons, so they can hit players while they're mounted. Following that, we have the Woolly Rhino, which can be found in snowy biomes. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use crops and berries. It requires a saddle to ride, which can be unlocked at level 53. The Woolly Rhino has like a horn stab attack, which can do some decent damage, but its main ability is the more you run, the faster it gets, and while you hit something when you're at max speed, it'll do way more damage. As you can see, that one did almost 1,000 damage. Next up, we have the Wyvern, which can be found in Wyvern trenches. To tame them, you must steal their egg. They do not require a saddle to ride. There are 4 types of Wyvern: fire, lightning, poison, and ice. Wyverns have a bite attack, they have a wing flap that knocks creatures back and gathers thatch, and they can pick up large creatures. The fire has a fire breath that burns enemies, the lightning has a lightning bolt that does the most damage, the poison shoots a poison ball that does torpor, and the ice has an ice breath that slows enemies and does damage. Ice Wyverns are also usually found in different spots than the other 3 types. Next up, we have the Zephactinus, which is a giant killer fish. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred food is superior kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride, which is unlocked at level 55. It has a bite attack, which is pretty quick. Then it has its dash attack, which can latch onto creatures and start killing them and creates a bloodbath. You can also use this ability to jump out of the water, as well as you can jump onto land, and you could actually survive on there for a little bit before you start dying. After that, we have the Yi Ling, which is a bird-like creature that can glide that can be found on Aberration. It is a knockout tame, but in order to tame it, you have to have it dive at you, and then you throw a plant species Z at it, which will stun it, and then you go up to it and feed it either narcotics or biotoxin. Once you feed it enough, it'll pass out. Its preferred taming food is exceptional kibble, but you can also use meat. It requires a saddle to ride at level 50. It can glide in the air, and it has a boost that it can do while gliding. It can also shoot feathers, and if you stack enough feathers on a target, you can do a dive ability. It also has multiple feather types. And finally, we have the Eutyrannus, which is a giant furry theropod that can be found in snow biomes, and it's always surrounded by a pack of Carnos. And if you see it in the wild, it can fear roll your dinos. It is a knockout tame, and its preferred preferred food is extraordinary kibble, but you can also use raw meat, and it requires a saddle to ride at level 80. Once tamed, it has a bite attack, but its main abilities are its roar, starting with the fear roar, which can scare enemies away, and then the courage roar, which increases damage by 25% and resistance to all targets. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. I mean, if you watched the whole hour and 30 minutes of this, I think you should definitely subscribe. But thanks for watching, and bye.